Welcome back, everyone. Greatest wrestling promos. I of course am Steve Glosson from Geek Out Loud. We have on this episode the great Bob Hansen, comedian extraordinaire and bloodline adjacent. We found out recently, so acknowledge him.
Fed the bloodline tree.
4 Left 3D Creations himself, Dave Garland, with us, who I still am scarred by the last thing he ever showed us in the Master of Ceremonies, the man of the hour, superstar Michael Mercer, the armchair director himself.
Thank you very much for that wonderful intro. And today we're taking a look at one of my picks. It's the cream of the crop. Yeah, this is an incredible Randy Savage promo. They actually made a toy of this. So one of the Randy Savage figures that has come out from Mattel comes with little creamers. So that's how iconic this promo is. They actually, some guy at Mattel decided, I've got to include the creamers, the never-ending creamers.
In recent weeks, you've seen men get wrapped up with athletic tape. You've seen a man promote RoboCop. You've seen Tiny Lister.
This guy RoboCop?
Yeah, this guy RoboCop. You've seen Tiny Lister and the Sensational Sherry out crazy the aforementioned Macho Man. And now we finally get to what the show's called Greatest Wrestling Promos. This is one of the greats.
And there it is.
Nice.
The little creamer with the pinky.
He's got your shirt on, Dave.
Yeah, he does.
Beautiful. All right. There's a couple. I mean, a lot of people call this cream of the crop, but there's actually quite a few quotables in this, quite a few memes. A lot of times promos today have like one thing you latch onto. That's what that promo is about. This has like 4 or 5. So here we go. Randy Savage, cream of the crop, 1987, shortly after losing the Intercontinental title to the Dragon Ricky Steamboat. Here we go.
WrestleMania 3 at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. It's a day that I'm certain my guest at this time will not forget. I'm talking about the former Intercontinental Champion of the world, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Means nothing.
Nothing
means nothing.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah. Macho Madness, yeah, has got more to offer than President Jack Tunney thinks that I got, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. Cards stacked against the Macho Man Randy Savage in WrestleMania 3. Yeah, let me say it, yeah. Let me say it out loud. And let me point to the president of the World Wrestling Federation. The Macho Man Randy Savage is not happy with your decision, yeah. I am the cream in the World Wrestling Federation.
Wait a minute,
and there is no doubt about it, yeah. You mean Gene Okerlund. You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh, wait a minute, though, Randy. I've got to ask you very seriously. Do you blame Mr. Jack Tunney, the distinguished president of the World Wrestling Federation, for Ricky Steamboat being the Intercontinental Champion today?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, outside interference, yeah. In my moment of glory. Yeah, no, I'm living in a nightmare. And I am the cream. And now, not only the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship belt must fall, but the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Because Hulk Hogan, yeah, I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better than the Macho Man Randy Savage. On balance, off balance, doesn't matter. I'm better than you are, yeah. And I'm talking to everyone in the World Wrestling Federation. And I'm even talking to President Jack Tunney, yeah. I'm on my way. And nothing is gonna stop me. Nothing's gonna stop me.
You know, just out of curiosity, Randy, and I certainly don't want to diminish your tremendous God-given talents, but I'm very curious. I haven't seen Elizabeth lately.
Yeah, she's on the outside of the ring. Does she interfere in matches? Yeah. Nothing, zero, yeah. Pure athlete, yeah. And I've been, maligned from the top to the bottom. And because they can't handle the Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream of the crop, nobody does it better.
Wow. You said it.
Wow.
Nobody. Macho made pointing with your pinky cool. I just want to start with that.
Macho is the king of starting a sentence he doesn't know how he's going to finish.
He he was Michael Scott in it before Michael Scott was. Sometimes I start a sentence and I have
Yeah.
no idea where it's going. I just hope it gets to the end.
I'm glad you picked this, Steve. This is yours or Michael? Sorry,
That's
Michael.
mine.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked this because we didn't have one yet with Okerlund, and I loves me, or we haven't filmed one in a little while with Okerlund, and I loves me some Gene Okerlund, and he's amazing. He's the best straight man and best wrestling interviewer of all time, in my opinion. I don't care if that's WWE centered. I don't care. Gene's the greatest, and he knew exactly what to do with Randy Savage, which is almost nothing. You just kind of have to shut up and play it straight. He didn't react hardly to having a creamer put in and out of his pocket.
I didn't even catch that. I was like, how did he get that in there?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is I had forgotten about the sleight of hand ability of one Macho Man, Randy Savage, because he throws the first one down and Gene watches it go. And that's the thing. You're right, Bob. Like Gene had a way of, I call him Gene like I knew him personally, had a way of being able to be the audience, but still direct the audience. And so he's reacting, but he's not putting himself over at the expense of the wrestler. He would always, if there was a heel who'd done some dastardly mess, he'd always be like, I don't want an explanation of what you're doing. But then he would stop and let them give that explanation or whatever the case may be. And then he'd say his final thoughts as he's throwing it back to whoever. And so here he just kind of plays along with what Macho's doing. If he throws that thing down, he later on is like, because the cream rises to and he pulls out another and he pulls out another. And so I started watching that hand where he had him palmed, and I'm like, this is good stuff. And then he ran out. I'm like, well, he's done. And then I'd forgotten he tucked the one in Gene's pocket and he pulls it back out. It's almost like he planned it, but he didn't. He's like, well, I'm out of cream.
But when he puts the and then rolling with knowing instead of he could have looked foolish because he's not I don't think he's officially a babyface yet. He cuts a babyface promo here. He says he's not going to cheat. Elizabeth doesn't cheat. I'm the best. I'm going to win my title back. And he's leaning on that edge. And when he puts the creamer on his head, it only stays there for a second, and then he falls off. He rolls right with it. He says on balance, off balance, whatever, doesn't matter. He rolls with it. He acknowledged it so that he doesn't look dumb, as if he was trying to do that and failed. From nothing means nothing. The unjustifiably in position, which I think is one of the gifs or the memes that goes around. Michael, every single second of this, he makes it memorable. And Gene Okerlund already at this point, I'm sure he already knew that when he was interviewing Randy, he didn't have to do anything. It's not like the Ken Patera ones where Gene has to steer this thing or whatever. Gene just has to say, hello, here's a microphone, and stand there. And Gene doesn't have to do anything, but he does Gene Okerlund is acting like he works there. Like it's not his passion necessarily. He cares because he's a human, but it's his job. And he's acting like this is his job, which he needs, but he doesn't need so badly as to tell a Bobby Heenan that what you're doing is okay. He's an employee here, and he always convinced us of that. And he is an employee reacting to Randy Savage to the best of his ability. He's reacting to madness as well as he can. He does speak for the audience, and that's that photo is amazing.
Dave, how do you feel about his shirt?
Oh, I think he's style and profile. Wait, that's not him. But as far as this promo goes, this is on the Mount Rushmore of promos as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get better than this one. Like you said, from the iconic lines to rolling with the creamer falling down. And it's like I said, this is on the Mount Rushmore, and that's, you can't say more than that about Macho as far as, I mean, he did everything.
So when I looked this one up, I've been wanting to do Cream of the Crop since we started doing this. And it's interesting, when I listened back to it, I didn't realize, wait a second, Cream of the Crop is also Nothing Means Nothing. I thought those were two different promos. Now, he said Nothing Means Nothing in a couple of promos, but I didn't realize that the one I know Nothing Means Nothing best for is actually in the Cream of the Crop promo, and also Unjustifiably in a Position I'd Rather Not Be In is in this promo. Also, Now I'm Living in a Nightmare, it's in this promo. Like, all these great memorable one-liners, these ridiculous one-liners are in this promo. He's angry about losing the Intercontinental belt, and he's going to get Ricky Steamboat. You're going to pay. You're going to pay. I'm going to get my belt back. And Hulk Hogan, you're going to pay too. I'm coming after your belt too. Yep. But Ricky, you're not off the hook. But Hogan, you're going to... What did Hogan? Hogan has nothing to do with this. But he was in the habit of hounding Hogan while he was Intercontinental Champion. Old habits die hard. So now he doesn't have his belt anymore. He's got to go get it. He's like, I always felt Randy was like Gollum with the one ring. Randy clutched the Intercontinental title. He rarely wore it to the ring. Like always in the promo, he was clutching it high so that the camera could catch his face and the belt. He knew, like, for the close-ups, he wanted the belt visible. So he would clutch it higher than most champions would hold their belt. Harley, right? Harley would hold it by the waist, Flair. The NWA champions would hold it low, but he clutched it like it was like this thing that had a power over him. And now he's trying to get this belt back. He's addicted to it. But Hogan, you too. Like, what is he going to do? Win the world title? And then now on to Ricky Steamboat. Like, what?
But that's kind of the thing of, you know, if you're in it, you're in it to be the best. And that always has to be your goal, is to get to that world title. And to keep yourself in that running, you got to mention Hogan in there, and to keep yourself a little bit of a heel. Like you said, he wasn't quite the face at this point. And so there's still a little bit of heelishness there. And what better way to show that you're still a heel than say, I'm still coming after you, Hogan. You know, he's the ultimate baby face at this point in time still. So I thought it made perfect sense. And of all the things that he said, I thought it made the most sense was him to just call out Hogan too, because he's just, like you say, he's dogging at him at all times. But everyone should be, you know, if you're not there to be the world, in the words of old Stone Cold, if you're not there to be the world champ, why are you there, kid?
Exactly.
And so, but this is great. I mean, this really is greatest. I agree with you, Dave. I think this is up there with some of the best of all time because of how memorable it is. You know, this is a promo after he lost a match. This is a promo after he lost the belt, and he's still going. The cream's going to rise to the top. You know, I think it's a great way to keep yourself over, to keep yourself relevant. And it's a thing that I think that a lot of wrestlers today could learn from, you know, is that losing is not the end of the world. It's how you lose and what you do in the aftermath of it that really counts.
Saying that, Steve, reminds me of Bob's Macho King promo. Bob, the one you picked from WrestleMania 6, suffering builds character.
Yes.
I lost, but I'm better because of it. Macho was always doing that. So what if I lost? And he wasn't diminishing Steamboat's victory. He wasn't like, oh, it was a fluke or whatever. But he knew how to get over or keep his heat without tearing down the guy he just lost to. And that is a really tricky thing to do. Maybe a lost art. Keep your heat, but don't diminish the guy you just put over.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, this is a great example of how, you know, at Mania 3, Randy Savage won in defeat, clearly. In modern wrestling, so many feuds, and this is related to him mentioning Hogan. In modern wrestling, if you have a program with someone, the both of you seem to just exist in your own universe. So two guys in the middle of the card or the beginning of the card, they're mad at each other, so that's the only thing they talk about. It's the only thing they focus on. Like Steve mentioned, Stone Cold Steve Austin says everyone there should want to be the champion. So it's bananas to me that, well, at the time of this recording, more wrestlers don't mention, oh yeah, and after I'm done with you, R-Truth, I'm going to go after Seth Rollins with my Money in the Bank briefcase. And actually I'll take that back. That group's actually pretty good at reminding us of that kind of stuff. I think they have some good people working with them and some good minds in that group as well. But by and large, if you have a program nowadays, you're stuck in that universe with that one person. You never mention anything else.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to all be trying to climb this ladder to get to the mountain, top of the mountain. And Randy Savage never lost sight of that.
I miss the days of when wrestlers would call out Hogan. I'm coming after you, Hogan. It's like these days they're not allowed, right? Like I'm trying to think of someone in WWE wrestling. Yeah, like R-Truth. You know, after I'm done with you, I'm coming after you, Roman Reigns. Like, it's almost like you're not allowed to say that, and if you say it, you'll get in trouble.
Right. There's no one in WWE saying they're going to come after Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Right now.
You'll get in trouble with corporate. Who cleared that? Who cleared? Like, the chain of command is just stifling the creativity. Whereas back then, he was just throwing it out there, right? Hulk who?
Yeah, I think I think that that's one of the things that could really add some intrigue and just kind of perk people up to the fact that, hey, anyone, if they put in the time, work hard, you know, and look, wrestling today is inundated with fans like us, people of our age, who are so behind the scenes, who kind of keep up with everything. Some of us have worked in it, you know, like Bob being bloodline adjacent and everything. But and so we get a little more jaded with things, but just imagine having, you know, we know how legit it is and how predetermined everything is. But at the same time, just imagine it being like a real sporting thing where everyone's goal is to be the best and everyone is gunning for the champion in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So when you have someone gain the Intercontinental title, they're glad to have they're a champion, you know, but there's still one more step to go. I've got to get to that world title. Yeah, I've got to get to the Universal title. Someone says, you know what, I've been down the past few weeks, but I'm on my way because I have one goal, and it's to get to the top. And if that means running through everyone here to get to Roman Reigns, if that means running through everyone here to get to Seth Rollins, whoever the case may be, like, there's nothing wrong with dropping those names. You're putting yourself in the mix. And I also think that it would be a good barometer to help the writers and whoever else kind of see what the fans think of someone actually saying they're on their way to this point. You don't have to put, you know, you're not changing the story arc. You're not changing the person's storyline in the moment, but you're letting people know that this person's not just here because they're feuding with Judgment Day. You know, they have an ultimate goal. Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having an ultimate goal of being the best. And
that's what I really loved about NWA when I first started watching it, because I had been used to the Intercontinental title. You win that, and that's it. Like, you are the champion, and you are defending it 24/7. Well, not 24/7 like they would eventually do, but like that was your priority. And you never heard an Intercontinental champion mention the world champion until Randy Savage was like, not enough.
Yeah.
Start watching NWA, and Lex Luger was the U.S. champion at the time. And I'm thinking, oh, cool. Yeah, he's their Intercontinental champion. And all he talked about was the world title. This is a stepping stone. This makes me the #1 contender.
Yep.
Like, what a concept. Like, if you're U.S. champion, yeah, you have to defend it and you get more money because you're a champion.
Sure. Yeah.
But this is a ticket to the world title. And then to actually, I mean, it's unfortunate Sting went down with the injury, but it made perfect sense. Instead of just grabbing some random guy to fill in for Sting, well, it's got to be the U.S. champion. I mean, he should have really had the shot over Sting anyway.
Right.
And that's why I just became such a huge fan of NWA, because it made so much sense that this guy's going for the world title because the U.S. title isn't enough. And even the world title was bigger. It dwarfed the U.S. title.
They used to have, there was a period of time in there where they would have on one of the shows, and now it's time for this week's rankings. And the #1 ranked contender to the world title would always be the U.S. champion.
I love that.
The television champion would be up or down depending on, you know, if there's someone that's been moving up the ladder before them, but the television champion would always be there in the top 10 as well. But if you were the U.S. title holder, you were the #1 contender. Mm-hmm. And so there was always the ability to turn the U.S. title holder into a story, you know, because either someone's going through you to get to it, or you've been looked over, though you're the rightful contender, kind of thing, you know. And I didn't follow WWF as closely in the day because, as I've told you guys, you know, where we were at, it was more of the Southern wrestling stuff than the WWF. But it did seem like that. It seemed like that they would find their roles and they'd kind of get stuck there. And so Savage doing this, man, playing this role and calling Hogan and all, it's just brilliant. It's the promoter's mind that he has. You know, Savage is from he's he's a second generation guy.
That's true.
His dad ran a promotion, albeit a small one.
Sure.
And so he had an understanding of the business and what you had to do to get over and stay over. And here you go, man. I'm not down just because the belt's gone. I'm the cream of the crop, Daddy.
Can I tell you what I steal from Randy Savage in stand-up comedy?
Hey, go for it.
Besides this, actually, only in like a recent months, just to pop myself, I guess I'll do this on the way to the stage sometimes, just to make myself giggle. But more so than that, because my understanding is Randy Savage was like 5'11", and I'm 5'11" barely, and I wear these boots too, so they make me like 6'1". But either way. But because especially in the land of giants, and whenever you see him face to face with the Hulkster in the 80s, you're reminded how big Randy Savage wasn't physically, but even when he was super jacked, he wasn't tall. But Randy Savage always made a point to, when he's in the ring, maybe let's say, and especially in this is a great example, because 86, 87, he'd have the robes, and they stick out real far.
He had sticks in the robes to give himself a bigger wingspan.
Yep, I do that because of him on stage. It's not with both hands. One of them has a microphone, but I make a point. I always have an exaggerated, you'll never get it all on camera, but I always have a hand out here or out there or out back, and boom, boom, boom. I'm always making sure, no matter how big or small the stage is, I'm walking back and forth. I'm taking all of it, just like Randy would circle the ring with the robe with the dragon on the back for Mania 3. Oh, that just hit me. That makes sense now. The whole thing. You're big because of Randy Savage. It's like larger than life. I always say larger than life all the time to young comedians. Like, look alive. And I want to see a guy in sweatpants mumble. Like, look alive. This is showbiz, Daddy. And most of it, Randy Savage. So,
did you ever hear the story about? I think it was involving the cowboy hats. He was talking to his wardrobe person, and he was telling the wardrobe person, "I'm small," and the wardrobe person goes, "You're not small. You're 5'11". Like that's actually kind of big compared to the average guy. He's like, "No, I'm small in wrestling." So they came up with, like, how do we make you seem bigger? So the robes, the sticks on the robes to increase the wingspan. The cowboy hat. Yeah. The cowboy hat added 2-3 inches to his height. He always just seemed just as tall as the 6'2" and 3 guys when he started wearing the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
The cowboy boots, right? The tippy toes. It was always about appear bigger than you are.
Have you ever seen on Instagram, probably, Michael, my red leather boots that I wear for the stage, or no?
No, I don't think so.
I'll send you pictures, probably a thing. But there's at least a 2-inch lift. At least 2. I'm walking in heels, basically. Just because all these tall guys always get booked all the time, and people just like to see tall people. And the boots are pretty stellar anyway. They got like gold shiny tips, and I'll send you a picture. But I wish I was more prepared. But yeah, larger than life and Randy Savage. You would know he's standing next to Okerlund. I guess Okerlund must have not been that tall. But either way, Randy Savage, as far as I'm concerned, without even really thinking about it, I think Randy Savage is a giant. Looking at these photographs next to Gene Okerlund, because Randy Savage is larger than life in personality. So it just, my brain convinces me that, and he's muscular. You can tell his shirt's tight. He's got an extra medium shirt on there. He's muscular, you can tell, but still.
Do you think Gene is barefoot here?
I hope so.
They would do things like that, Gene was such a pro that he would do things to try to make the other wrestlers look bigger. Whereas, like, sometimes they hire like the tall ref. Like, what are you doing? Why would you hire a 6'5" ref or hire like a stick man who's 6'6"? Why would you do that?
When I refereed for Office Promotion way back when, if you were under 200 pounds, you always refereed before you were a wrestler. And I was one of them. I was like 180, 185 tops. And I was probably taller then. I might have even been closer to 6 feet back then, as 20-something years ago. But I would always make sure, because some guys would look at me cross-eyed like, you are a little taller than we like our refs.
Kind of like Marty's partner.
So I would squat down when you're squatting down, like, okay, you're here, you're here. I would probably be hunchbacked by the end of the damn things because I would squat down almost the entire match, no matter who I was refereeing. I would always try to, and then sell their bumps and pop up and blah 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 blah. But yeah, no, I was always conscious of it. I was removed from a match once with Low Key. I just named him, whatever.
I can cut it out.
Leave it in. Screw him. Per his request, because he's like, referee's too tall. We look like little guys, or whatever he said in Allentown at a TV taping once. Days in, Route 22, days in. Yeah, the referee's too tall. Can't do this. Give me another one. They got a smaller ref.
Is it like a little person?
Well, I think
that would solve all problems if they just hired little people as the refs.
As to referee, yes. I wish they would.
Just pop Steve.
Or if they had a referee, but then they paid like for some plastic surgery to have an identical referee.
Oh. I just want to know who paid, brother.
Come on.
Like, what kind of multi-million-dollar operation would that?
That has to be a future promo.
Are you talking about the greatest storyline in the history of professional wrestling?
Arguably the greatest ever, yes.
I think it is. I say that with no irony whatsoever. I really believe that's one of the greatest storylines in the history of professional wrestling.
Okay, we have to do Hogan after that match crying to Mean Gene Okerlund about the injustice.
Yeah, I just want to know. I just want to know who paid. How much did they pay? How much did it cost? Yeah.
Hey, 12-year-old me was devastated that night.
Yes.
I even made a list of all the things wrong with that match. It was I was distraught.
Why would they go to all the expense to make the ref look just like him, but not liposuction? Or no, the real ref, Dave Hebner, had a few pounds on the clone. So why didn't they have the new ref hit the Pizza Hut buffet?
I got a question. Why not just bribe the first ref?
Because Dave Hebner was a man of integrity. You can't buy him off, so you have to
Dave Hebner off. Listen, absolutely. That I remember watching it. I remember watching the replay, and I remember that Hogan's shoulder, being like 3 feet off the mat and still getting the 3 count. I'm like, what? What is this?
Definitely the worst duplex in the history of wrestling.
Yeah, it was so, because I was in North Georgia at my cousin's house when we all saw that. And I'm like, guys, that's not fair. What just happened is not right. Like, I was talking about the injustice of it all and everything. It was crazy.
Going back to NWA,
yeah,
where things are fair. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm going back to where we're the cheaters. We know who's going to cheat. The refs aren't going to cheat. It's just going to be Flair and the Horsemen. You know what you're getting with them.
Did you recognize Earl Hebner when that whole thing happened?
No, because I was just a kid, man. I didn't really pay much. The only referee I really knew was Tommy Young, and even that was a stretch, so I didn't start paying attention to the referees until that time. Then after that taught me, to pay attention to the referees for sure. Yeah.
Well, this is the cream of the crop in terms of wrestling promos.
Absolutely.
Awesome to go through this with you guys. Thanks, guys, for joining, and we're going to sign off this time. I'll take us out. I am Superstar Mercy Graham. You can catch me on armchairdirectors.com. Thank you, Dangerous Dave Graham from 4 Left 3D, for joining us. And also Sweet Steve Graham from Geek Out Loud. And, well, you got Hacksaw Bob there, but I'm going to call you Beautiful Bob Graham. Instagram.com/Bob Hansen Jokes. Check out Bob's comedy. It's awesome. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Until next time, we need a sign off. Cream of the crop! And do the whole... need athletic.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. You don't know.